Welcome to K-Drama School. I am going to discuss the show Queenmaker today, which is written by Moon Ji-young. I haven't seen a lot of shows written by Moon Ji-young. In fact, she hasn't written that many shows. There's a huge gap between the last couple of shows she's written and then Queenmaker. I don't know what she was doing for like that 10-year gap in between these shows, but Queenmaker's amazing. I thought it was like a really well written political drama. It's got a little bit of thrill. There's definitely like a fast paced, action oriented sort of movement on the show. So, yeah, I was able to binge it real fast, real easy, super smooth. The first episode of Queenmaker begins with Chae-ryung caught in a public scandal for being abusive towards her staff members. Like somebody took a video of her as she's like throwing a fit while throwing stuff and yelling at people. And just, rumors of her being like very physically abusive and emotionally and mentally abusive gets leaked. And then she faces public backlash. And the mise en scène of Chae-ryung glaring up at the reporters, that is based on actual events that happened with a Korean executive for Korean Air. Her name was Heather Cho, and she was glaring up at reporters when they were photographing her around the time that she got caught in a scandal for abusing flight attendants back in 2014. This was called the Nut Rage incident, and it's the time when this VP at Korean Air, when she was sitting in her first class seat and the flight attendant brought her macadamia nuts, but they did not put it in this like porcelain bowl, which they were supposed to do. They just left it in the bag. And she threw such a fit that they had to turn the plane around. So she was, I don't know, like, I guess she was charged with disrupting air safety or whatever. And yeah, like Heather Cho, she is, of course, a Nepo baby. She is the daughter of Korean Air's CEO, Cho Yang-ho. And in 2019, reports of the Cho family's abusive behavior towards all of their staff members was reported. And I read this on CNN, but allegedly, employees that served the family specifically, they were given a 70-page manual on how to respond when these Cho family members start to be abusive. Like, I mean, hitting people or spitting or throwing vases at them, cursing at them, demoting them or firing them. I mean, like how to respond to that kind of behavior. Like they were given an instruction manual on how to behave, and it was literally like, if that's happening to you, you have to stand there and take it. These employees were instructed to just stand there and take it, to not react, to pretend like everything's normal and fine, to literally go against all of your instincts, to run away from the madness. Like that's what they're instructed to do, which is in a way like no different from how how students get treated in some of these situations. Like I was also treated similarly. How, I don't know, soldiers are expected to behave in a military setting. Okay, so it's like, I guess abuse in Korean culture is just so prevalent and so common and so normalized that people just don't know that they should not tolerate it and that they should fucking quit and sue and call them out, right? So yeah, if you're handed a 70-page manual telling you not to react when your boss is throwing a vase at your head, that's a sign that you should quit. That's a sign that you should not be there. Okay? So, yeah, this kind of stuff, it's based in reality. Are we looking at a show? Are we looking at a TV show? Absolutely. It's fiction. It's absolutely fiction. But are some of these fictional tales based on reality? Yeah. Absolutely. Why else would it be there? If it didn't happen, okay, like it wouldn't be there, you know? No matter how imaginative you want to be as a writer, no matter how creative you wish to be, it's like, oh, if there is an abusive authority figure in a show, yeah, this villain is constructed out of some kind of truth, so to speak. But with that said, the show also does explore Chae-young's trauma and where her temper tantrums stem from, and of course it stems from child abuse and neglect, right? Which doesn't justify her behavior. No, it doesn't. None whatsoever. And yeah, so the show is an exploration of not this family specifically. Of course, they fictionalize the Koreaner family and they call it Eunseong Group, but the show is essentially following the through line of Do-hee. I mean, Do-hee is the protagonist, and who is Do-hee? Do-hee is the woman who serves the Eunseong Group family hand and foot, completely committed to their corporation, okay? Just like gives her absolute all and ensures that the family's public image is maintained. Okay, so Do-hee is like the PR head for this company. And because she lacks morals and because she ignores her self dignity, she is rewarded by the family with spoils like a Maserati. They give her a house, they give her a beefy salary, okay? All the while, the family members literally talk shit to her face. Like, there's this really hilarious scene when the chairwoman and the chairwoman's friend are like doing, they're doing art, right? And Toi's just there to like, run an errand, but they start speaking to one another in really lousy French, assuming that Tohi doesn't understand what they are saying. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't, but Tohi isn't an idiot. She knows that they're talking shit about her. And it's just such an interesting scene, right? Like how the mise en scène is using the French language, this European language that the wealthy elite acquired to signify that, oh, you know, like European languages are reserved for the elite. It's for the educated. It's for people who can afford to live abroad and study abroad and acquire these languages and return to Korea and talk shit in front of their subordinates to their face. Like as if they're cloaking or speaking in code when really they're not, right? They're being assholes. They're being dicks, right? The show is fascinating in how they make Do-hee the protagonist. Like, I mean, she starts out as this sort of like, is she going to be an anti-hero, right? But no, this is a show about Do-hee as the protagonist who is on the mend, all right? Like, she's hit a wall after a staff dies, commits suicide on Do-hee's watch because of something Do-hee did, right? Well, I mean, Do-hee isn't the only person. Of course, like, the woman was assaulted by the Eunseong Group's son-in-law, but Do-hee doesn't follow through on the complaint. Like, she doesn't do her due diligence on behalf of this young woman who was raped, right? So what Do-hee is doing is she's trying to get back her morals. She's trying to get back her ethics. She's trying to turn this ship around. So it's really an exploration of how does a woman change her life after walking on the dark side for a very long time. And what she does is she goes to the total opposite. She goes to this human rights attorney named Oh Kyung-suk, right? Who is like, she's, an activist. She does pro bono work. She stands up for, part-time employees' rights, like middle-aged women's rights when they get fired for, for unfair reasons, okay? And she's like a woman who stands up for the little person, the little man, the little woman, okay? She's somebody who stands up for human rights for anybody who's been marginalized. And that wasn't Do-hee's bag. Back in the day, like Do-hee's thing, like her thing was kissing ass for the elite, running around for the elite. And she herself benefiting from the elite. That's what she was doing. But now she wants to do something totally different, and she wants to turn Oh Kyung-suk into the mayor of Seoul. Yes. I really love the actress who plays Oh Kyung-suk. Her name is Moon So-ri, and she's a veteran actress in the Korean film industry, and she doesn't really do a lot of television. So this was a surprise. This was a pleasant surprise, and it was interesting because Moon So-ri really doesn't do a lot of TV. In fact, when I saw Moon So-ri playing a supporting role on the School Nurse Files, I was pretty surprised. I'm like, this isn't her thing. Like Moonsori does, art house films. Like she's an art house cinema actress. I first saw Moonsori in one of my favorite films by art house filmmaker Yi Chang-dong in a movie called Oasis, which she starred alongside Seol Kyung-gu. And she won a lot of accolades and awards and recognition for that very bold performance. She also performed in Peppermint Candy with Seol Kyung-gu. It was an Lee Chang-dong film, and she was, quite amazing in that as well, even though her role was a lot smaller. And I've always admired Moon So-ri for taking bold risks as an actress. She does a lot of indies, she does a lot of art house stuff, and she always does extreme roles that are very physically and mentally and emotionally taxing. So, Moon So-ri to me is definitely an artist. Yeah, I look at her as an artist. Whereas we all know who Kim Hee-ae is. I mean, she's like a K-drama queen, right? I mean, Kim Hee-ae has that commercialized branding that wraps her up. But here she is. Here's Moon So-ri playing with Kim Hee-ae, like total indie on the one hand and then total commercial on the other hand, and these two worlds are coming together, right? And it's like the show is aware of its meta message, of the meta co-creation that's taking place by casting Moon So-ri with Kim Hee-ae on a Netflix series. I mean, the title of the show is Queenmaker, but there's this parallel of a queen making that's occurring. It's like, oh, Kim Hee is already an established K-drama queen, and let's usher Moon So-ri in, to the K-drama world and turn her into a queen, right? This is like the queendom of Moon So-ri's acting career happening on Queenmaker via Kim Hee-a's queen status, if that makes sense. Yeah. This is a Netflix exclusive and it's only available on Netflix, not on any Korean broadcasting or cable channels. And it's got this really fascinating balance of political thrill and drama, but also with the mom drama. There is a little makjang quality to it in that, they get messy, they get loud, they get ugly at times, but it's all done in a kind of a tasteful, sophisticated way. The show explores complex issues around feminism, career, and motherhood, also socio-cultural issues related to state and political economy and ethics, and also related to marginalized identities in South Korea, like migrant workers who work for the Eunseung Group family but are abused. Like that South Asian woman who was like a nanny to this baby and then she gets fired. Yeah. For what? For speaking Korean to the baby? I mean, that was her big offense. That's the one thing I really appreciate about Korean dramas is that a lot of K-dramas are really excellent at using middle-aged uh, women stars as the lead, as the central figure to their stories. And the stories are always unique and weird and interesting. And that's not as common, I don't think, in Hollywood or elsewhere. So I really appreciated Queenmaker for what it is. Today's guest is Connor Hangsleben. He used to be an LA comedian. I guess he'll always be an LA comedian. But he is now based in Minnesota, which is where he is from, living in St. Paul. And he is a very, very funny comic. He's definitely a comedian I respect for his craft and his work. And we have a really hilarious, fun time. So let's talk to Connor Hangsleben. All right, cool, 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 cool. Good to have you. So, you are back in Minnesota? What? Since when? Why did you leave? What happened?
since May, probably. No, so like May, like I was like I left LA and I was just like on the road a bit. And I went. I had a buddy that lived in Kansas City, so I stayed with him for a month. We was doing shows down there, and then so I've been back
Hmm.
here since like August, really, which it's been good. I like it a lot. Happier than
Hmm.
being in LA because I don't know it's like you can't get any
What?
time out there, and it sucks. It's just like I'd work 12 hours a day in a fucking restaurant and then pay $15 a night to do open mics. You know what I mean? It was annoying because like I was going on the road a lot for like a whole like most of the pandemic, right? So like I was never there. I'd go back for a
Yeah.
week and it'd be nice. Like I'd see people and then
Yeah.
I'd leave for a month straight
Sure.
and then I'd get back there. And
Yeah.
but then like that stopped. Like I stopped
Yeah.
opening for this dude, and then it was 3 months there. I was just like working. But 12, we're gonna fucking Dialogue
Yeah.
Cafe. Yeah, I was working there from
No.
like to 8 to 5 every single day. This is so fucking shitty. There's only server over 5'2" because all the other servers are Mexican dudes. So like I'm the only one that would get yelled at because I'm the only person they can see. So the managers will look from a window. They
Yeah.
don't see
Yeah.
Eduardo because he's fucking hidden. He's underneath an umbrella. He's in between the tables, you know?
Yeah.
So it was awful. He was
Yeah.
just
And
pointing at me
you're,
the whole time.
yeah. Yeah, because you're
Uh,
fucking big and tall and white and they can spot you from a mile away. Yeah.
dude,
Sorry.
yeah. So just like sick of that,
Restaurant
you
work
know?
is the worst. Restaurant work is the worst. It's the worst. Yeah.
You worked in a lot of
I
restaurants.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I worked at a lot of restaurants since I was a teenager and into college, but then like I was like I am never going to do this again because it's so
Yeah.
demeaning and
Like what kind of
you get paid
restaurants
like
was it?
shit, you get treated. I worked in New York because that's where I'm
Oh,
from. So New York
yeah,
City has you know, like decent restaurants. Like they take dining out very seriously over there. So
yeah.
um I mean, I did learn a lot when I was younger. Like I learned about wine and, food and things like that, and I appreciate it. I worked at, do you know Thomas Keller? He's like this big restaurateur. Uh
Mm-mm.
okay, so it doesn't fucking matter, but like there's this dude, he's a chef named Thomas Keller. He
Yeah.
owns like a couple of like, 4-star restaurants, like Per Se is like a big one, French Laundry is another one.
Okay.
Like
Oh,
I grew
okay.
up
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Napa Valley. Yeah, so he owns like these fucking restaurants. And so he had this smaller cafe called Bouchon Bakery, and they had a retail cafe, and then they had like an actual dine-in cafe inside the Time Warner building at Columbus Circle in New York City, and that's where I worked. And I I learned a lot. I learned a lot about fine dining and cuisine and all that shit, but I hated working at a restaurant. Also, I'm not a good like server. I'm not a good barista. I'm not a good bartender because I hate like being hospitable to people, when people
Yeah.
are like, oh, I need something, I'm like, go fuck yourself. I need a lot of things. I hate
Yeah.
that I am here. So they would complain about me all the time. They're like, when are you going to fire Grace? Like, can you please fire Grace? Like, she's like the worst. And
When are you gonna fuck?
I eventually just quit because like they had no grounds to fire me. They were just like, oh, you don't smile a lot, and like, you seem really grumpy. And
Yeah.
some of the staff and like some of the guests are like scared of you. And so
Yeah.
I just
I've gotten that
I
before. Cause
quit,
like
and I
when
was
you're
like,
not like happy, just like improv people are a good way because they're lying the whole time. You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean? Like stand up, it's kind of like,
exactly,
oh, you're being yourself, you're
exactly.
being honest, right? You're not. It's like you can't do that when you're waiting tables because at most of the time you're not fucking happy. You're just right, just fucking yeah. Okay, here's your shit.
Yeah,
They just want to be deluded. It's like
yeah,
I just want to go to fucking
it's the
Universal
worst.
Studios for an hour, and but you're that's what they want. They want you to be a
Yeah,
character. They want you to be
yeah,
some sort of fucking minion in front of them.
I know. I know. And you know what? It's not unfair of them to expect that because, when I go out to eat, I do want good service, and I do want, like, a chummy server who isn't a dick, you
Yeah,
know? So, like, the
yeah,
expectation is not wrong. It's just I am wrong for this business and this industry, like, that
yeah,
is, like, vividly clear. And, like, in my 20s when I was like, "I'm not gonna do restaurant work anymore," I broke that promise to myself right before the pandemic because I was so strapped for money that,
yeah,
through another comedian friend, I got a hostess job at a ramen place, and they
yeah. Which one
fired
was
me
it?
in, like, 10 days.
10 days?
Jinya Ramen?
What street's it on?
I didn't last 2 weeks. It was the downtown LA, one, and they fired
Oh,
me
it's probably
because they got
gone
2
now.
negative Yelp reviews in, like, the whole time that I was there. I don't know, it might still be there,
That's
who
pretty
fucking
good though.
I don't know, I don't care, but, they had every right to fire me. Yeah. I was
Yeah,
the shittiest hostess. People would complain about me constantly. It was just like, I'm not made for this job. Why do I keep bothering trying, you know? So I was just like,
yeah.
all right, I'm never doing this shit again, and I just gave it up. So I
Because
don't
it's
blame you
available.
for
It's like,
hating
you know,
restaurant
it's
work.
it's easy. It's always there. You know, especially in LA. There's 5
Yeah.
restaurants in every block. You know, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of them are full of actors. And that's the other stressful
Yeah,
thing too. Like listening to anxious actors,
yeah.
complain about their lives and industry stuff. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like I hate talking to
Dude,
you. So, yeah.
I worked at,
Yeah.
it used to be, I worked at the Pizza Press on La Brea in Santa Monica. You know that where the Target
Okay.
is, and where all the homeless people hang
No.
out, and there's like a little, there used to be a bunch of, no, I guess like the rent was so high that everyone like moved out. There's where the Target is on Santa Monica Boulevard,
Okay.
and I work, so it's right next,
Yeah.
it's across the street from ADA, where all the little kids acting school, right?
Uh-huh.
And so a bunch of those kids would work at the
Okay.
pizza press because it's a block from where they live, right? So you got all these actors, and then it
Oh,
was the funniest
yeah.
shit watching them interact with like the black dudes from South Central that worked there. This kid Dom, he used to gangbang, and he was talking. He 1 week, like just the problems they had were so different. 1 week he came in, I was like, man, what's up? He's like, ah, dude, I'm just, he's like, my homie got shot downtown outside this club, man. I was like, it's like he went
Uh,
home early because he was so
yeah.
sad because his friend died. And then we got this girl, Jenna, the next day. He's like, I'm just so stressed out right now. I was like, oh, what's going on? She's like, oh, she's like, my director, he lost all our tapes. He lost our tapes. I have nothing to submit now. I was like, oh god, dude, go talk to Dom. Go fucking go see. You guys are both having bad weeks, I guess.
Oh my God. No, no, that honestly, that is sort of there is like kind of like an equalizer kind of thing that does occur in those kinds of spaces, and I appreciate it for that. But God, like service industry is really, really rough. So now you're just in Minnesota and you're doing road stuff and you're just and you're feeling more comfortable with that. I mean, you're constantly working, it seems. You're booked all the time. It seems like you're
Yeah,
busy.
I mean, they never have a free weekend. I'm always doing shows and stuff, and now like I'm just doing stand up. I'm not fucking working a restaurant. It's not like I'm making a shit
Yeah,
ton of money,
exactly.
but like
Yeah.
it's very like I'll make fifty
But
thousand dollars this year just
it'll
doing stand
build.
up, and that's it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's good. I'm much happier than, but now it sucks because now I'm the dude that everyone in LA is like, he's doing shows. I want to go do road shit. It's like you're 5 minutes that you do in LA. He's like, you're gonna come do 25 minutes out here for a bunch of hicks? Like, you get the fuck out of here. You're gonna go talk about buying fucking. The only thing that they could
Yeah.
relate on is getting unpasteurized goat's milk. That's the only thing you can relate to farmers out here. It's just, you talk about Erewhon,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I'll show you my DMs of people you see at open mics that are like, "Oh, I'd love to do the roast." Like, fucking, I got a Sunday showcase at the Improv. No, I can go fucking like that. That's how these people think. I'm like, and I just every time they message me, I just I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll send you a list of people to hit up. Never fucking send them. They just keep coming back. It's annoying as fuck. Like I didn't even talk to you when I was out there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's actually a very LA move if you think about it, you know? Like
Yeah,
when I think that's also what makes this city very lonely because it's where the industry's at, you know? Like
yeah,
I treat this city as just an office. I'm like, this is the workspace, this is an office. Everybody I meet are basically colleagues, you know? Like I'm
yeah,
not gonna take anybody that personally or seriously. Unless
yeah. You get
unless
fucked
like,
up if you
you
do
know,
that.
we saved each other's lives or some shit.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it is. How long were you in LA?
Oh, so I did it out here for like 9 months in Minneapolis, and like once I think probably the wiser I don't know. The wiser thing would have been just like do it out here for a couple years and then go out there. But I was like, oh, like I was kind of sick of it out here. There's kind of people that were like older comics that kind of like ran the scene that everyone talks shit
Sure.
about now that don't even do stand up, and like no one was friends. Everyone
Yeah,
was like no one, like everyone was like
right.
on eggshells. Like, it'd be like if
Yeah.
you said retarded, like you were done for. Like that was like you're dead. Like you the end of the world. And that was kind of like there was like
Yeah.
this my buddy Aiden McCall. He's funny as shit. He goes on the road with who the fuck are the Come Town guys. Like he hangs out with all them, and he
Okay.
or Nick Mullen, those guys, right? And he did
Okay.
stand up out here for 6, same thing, and he moved to Las Vegas just because he's like, I didn't
Mm.
think I would last out there. You know, there's not.
Mm.
He's like, I had a joke where I said the R word and people screamed at me. He's like, I could. And he's funny as shit now, and now those same people kind of like
Yeah.
come at him like, oh, do you got spots and shit? It's like, fuck you. I remember you from 5 years ago yelling at me when I was at an open mic, my third
Uh,
open mic. But now, like, those people are
okay.
all gone and they all have, like, families or whatever. They moved to LA and now they're just social media managers. So, LA, I was out there 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. Okay.
Yeah. So,
I
2018?
think oh, okay. Well, I mean, no, I remember seeing you back then. I was like, "Oh, he's really funny." Like you definitely had like a perspective for sure, which is important. So many LA cats don't have perspective, which is annoying. You had perspective and you also would integrate like your personal stories, like, you know, the bit about your grandmother like speaking in tongues and stuff is like really, really
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
And that's like so specific to you, to your experience. But it's also specific to like a lot, like, you know, I grew up in the church, like a lot of Americans grew up in the church, and like we've all seen that, you know, we have relatives or,
Yeah.
you know, family members who've done that. So it's like so relatable and it's funny, you know? So I was like, oh, like he's really funny. But yeah, I think LA is it's the industry town. And it's like if you're like auditioning and you're like trying to get like a writing job or whatever, then okay, fine, this is great. But other than that, like for just only comedy, yeah, I don't think LA is the best city for it. I think maybe New York, you know, you'll get really good. Or, you know, if
Yeah.
you're in a city like Minneapolis or even Vegas or even Phoenix or any city, like we'll probably get more stage time, more spots, and yeah, like, and it'll probably be friendlier compared to Los Angeles, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's a
So,
smaller, I mean, it does something because there's like a smaller pool. So, people are like, I mean, there's always going to be like competitive people, but like once you do it in LA, you just like see how fake people are. Like, people out here have nothing on
yeah.
them. The demons that live
Uh,
in Los Angeles that you interact with. You know what I mean? Like, especially, like, I remember,
yeah.
like, people just assume because like, you're good at stand-up or, like, if you crush at the open mic and you probably get this, like, the people that come up after you that just assume you run everything because you do well at fucking 3 minutes at the Improv. You just get these, like,
Yeah.
plucky young girls that just moved from Kansas, and they're like, "Oh, you're so funny," like, you know what I mean? It's like, "Oh, like, I'm not the fucking dude, alright? Fucking this is the patio at 7. Hang out till 10 when David Spade's here or something. He can help you."
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, you know, with those kids, it's just like, oh, they're a little misguided or they're a little naive, and you know, you just leave it at that. But yeah, I'm actually very much in admiration of your move, you know, to go back. Cause I mean, were you trying to like I don't know, were you trying to, like, book, like, acting jobs or
No, I
anything
didn't do
like
any of
that when you
this.
were
I didn't do
here,
any of
or
the
you
shit
were
you're
just
supposed to do in LA. No, I was like just doing
Yeah,
4
yeah.
open mics a night. I go from the Improv to the Hollywood Hotel to the Clubhouse to the fucking Flappers, dude. I
Oh
just
my god.
spending.
It
I'd
sounds
make
so
70 bucks waiting
exhausting.
tables and spend 20 of it doing open mics, and then yeah, like that was it. I mean, it was good. Like you feel
Yeah.
like
Ugh.
feel tough and you feel like you're doing it, but I don't know. You just get like old enough. You're like, I don't need doing
Yeah,
open mics to know people is not productive now. Once you're like comfortable on stage, you
exactly.
don't need to do stuff like
Exactly.
that. But oh, here's crazy. Like the
Yeah,
open mics
yeah,
in
yeah.
Minnesota are fucking. They're better than any show in LA. Like the open mic at Acme did it 5 minutes. There was 300 people there last
Mm,
night, and it's just like I mean, you're doing like good shit. May throw out like a new one there,
uh-huh.
but it's hot, so hot. Like even like in like I saw a dude like he's like doing new shit, just like is in between, just like I don't know, man. They're like, oh fuck, I don't know, man. That's wild. They just lose their shit. You tell people about the open mics out here, they're
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, it's so much different than paying $5. You ever do like the Hollywood Hotel? Oh, you ever do the
No,
Hollywood
I
Hotel
it just
mic?
seems too depressing, so
Yeah, is it still
no,
there?
it seemed very depressing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I never bothered. It's just that, like, it just sounded so depressing. Like, nobody ever said nice things about that place, so I just never
yeah,
went. But,
it
it's fine.
was
It's
totally.
fine. Okay. Well, I think to get better at stand up anyway, like it's just better to just be on the road, do the road, and like
Yeah,
meet a diversity of crowds. I think that's just the only way to get better anyhow, and that's more fun
yeah.
anyhow. So, um, I think your move is totally fucking great and excellent and respectable. So yeah, good for you. Um, are you in Minneapolis? Like, where are you in Minnesota? Where are
I
you
live in
based?
St. Paul. So St. Paul's like it's on the other side of the river.
Uh,
Minneapolis is 10 miles away.
yeah,
So it's
right.
like
The
200,000
other
people, the other of the
mm,
twins. Yes. Which
the
is
other twin,
my
yeah,
my
yeah.
buddy from Kansas City. Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas call themselves the Twin Cities also. But
Oh, I didn't know that. Mm.
I didn't know that either. But like doesn't the Minnesota makes more sense, right? Like you're on each side of the river. They're just two cities with the same fucking name. You don't have two twins. You're like, here's Billy and Billy, my twin children, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. That does make sense, actually. That's actually a very prudent observation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, the real Twin Cities. Like, no, you're not. You're just two cities on each side of the state. You're the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have a very interesting relationship with the state of Minnesota in that I have never physically been to Minnesota. It's on my list. I would love to go to Minnesota, but I've never
yeah.
physically been there. But I have hooked up with two guys from Minnesota. One was from
Oh,
St.
really?
Paul, the other was from Minneapolis. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were both
What's the better city
very
based
different
off of
people.
the experience?
I would say if I base off of it though if I base my judgment off of those two guys, both cities are shitty cities. Yeah, they're terrible cities. Um, Minneapolis has a way bigger cock, I'll say that. Uh,
That's true.
but
It's just
but
based
I
on the
hate it. I
demographics
hated
of
having
the city. Yeah.
yeah. But I hated having sex with him. And the other one, he was such an asshole, like so toxic, but like the sex was way better. So that's my impression of St. Paul.
Like from St.
Yeah.
Paul. Usually
Yeah.
they're nice boys out here.
Or actually, you know what? He's not from St. Paul. He's from Edina. Yeah.
Oh, that makes
So
sense. Yeah, you said like toxic. That's like because that's the suburbs. That's very like
yeah.
that's super wealthy. Edina's where like I don't. You should always think of
Yeah.
it's like the richest kids that live out here. That's where
Mhm.
like all like the all
Yes.
the Vikings players, all like the Wild, all the
Mhm.
anyone that plays on a sports team,
Yep.
like that's where they all live. So that's
Yeah.
probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. This kid was from Edina. His dad was a doctor. He
You
himself
can
was
find him.
gonna
What's
be a
his last
doctor.
name? His
Such
dad. Where I could find where he practices. I could drive there now. Down, it's 20 minutes away.
No, I don't want to. I've already revealed so much. This is like the most I've revealed on a podcast like
Really?
ever. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Oh, I
I
feel like
never talked
I'm
to
holding
guys
back. What you think?
I've slept with on my podcast before. Not really, not so much. This is like very specific. I'm like naming cities. I'm naming things.
Yeah.
Like I don't do that usually.
Do you
But
get
it's like
them?
because of the experience with these dudes, like it's like Minnesota's always been like a helicoptering thing in my consciousness or subconsciousness. And I want to go there. I want to go there and like see the cities. I want to do spots
It's
there.
great. It's
I actually
beautiful in
I
the summer.
applied that's what everybody says. It's beautiful in the summer. I hear it's a great city to bike in. Minneapolis is a great city for
Oh yeah.
biking. Yeah. But I hear the winters are very rough. Your last name's Hangsleben. Is that German or what is that?
It's German. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah. That's another thing about Minnesota. All the Germans moved
My
there
Germans.
and
My mom's family is they're from Iceland. So like we still have like cousins in Iceland that
oh.
like my aunts and uncles will go like visit and stuff. So it's very
Oh, that's amazing. Wait, did
yeah, it's
did, did
cool.
you go to Iceland and
No, I
like hang
didn't, but
out
my
and see them
uncle
and stuff?
went. No, I want to. I don't know. I was too busy hanging out at the Hollywood Hotel, getting yelled at the bartender for
No.
bringing in outside liquor.
No, go to Iceland. If you go to Iceland, I could put you in touch with Icelandic comedians who do stand up in
Really?
English there. And they're really cool people.
That's been my biggest thing. It's like I'm
Yeah.
gonna.
Go travel.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Go
text
to
my
fucking
uncle Dale
Reykjavik.
after this. Yeah, they have
Do
like
it.
English
Go
comedy
there.
stuff.
Go there in the summer.
Grace, this
Yeah,
is perfect.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go to Reykjavik. I went to Reykjavik in 2015, I think, summer
Yeah.
2015, and oh my God, it's so beautiful. I was like, this place is fucking magic town. It's like, like when you see like fairy tale video games or movies, it is
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's like overwhelming, but it was like real. It's like the landscape is actually like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go
These
there. Yeah.
I
You got family there.
like I read like an interview with like Bjork and she said that like her biggest like influence like who are your biggest influences in music? She's like, "Oh, just the sounds of Iceland." And she's like, "Oh, the way the wind sounds is way more it's the most beautiful thing." So I try to sing like that. Isn't there only
Yeah.
like 50,000 people there too? Right?
There's a lot of like unknown incest that goes on in Iceland for sure because of that problem. And I have a friend there named Ava, and her
Yeah.
mom's from Thailand, so she knows that she is not of incest. But she was like, I have
Yeah.
friends and I have family members who accidentally fucked one another as cousins because the population's so small. Yeah. So, but you don't have
That's like
that
North
problem because you're
Dakota.
the
Well, like
actual
North, so
state.
like most of my family lives in North Dakota. Yeah, it's like because it's like about the same population. It's probably 500,000 people total live there, the whole state.
Okay.
And so
Wow.
like everyone like knows each other. Like you just be like oh you're hanging something like oh my cousins are this like this guy, and then they're
Yeah.
so like I went to church with
Uh-huh.
my aunt Joanne. There's the Icelandic side, so like they left
Uh-huh.
Iceland, still have the inbreeding problem, and we were at church and there was some farmer came up like me and my brothers were there, right? So I got three brothers, we
Yeah.
all look about the same, and
Mm.
he he's like my daughters are looking for husbands and they'd like to meet your boys, and he like presented his daughters to us, and I was like oh no like I would ruin your life. I'm not. You're looking for like a farmer. Like I live in Los Angeles. And I wait tables. This is not at all what you want.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, you talk about farm work too a little bit. Like you have a very like earthy sort of, uh like rural kind of backdrop it seems like, which I can also relate to because I my parents are Hicks, like Korean Hicks from
Yeah.
Korea and
Yeah, were
like
you talking what
literally
was your mom just doing wasn't she just doing something with, like, fish? Like, did you say she'd, like,
no,
go
no. My because my mom grew up on a farm, whenever she goes
Yeah,
out to like the ocean or the mountains, like she'll go foraging and hunting for food. Like that's just like in her
yeah,
to go and do. Yeah, so she'll do that. But yeah, like, when I was a toddler, my parents would leave me at my grandparents' house, like on the farm in Korea. And like I grew up with like pigs and like chickens and cows and like went to pick carrots and radishes and stuff. And yeah, like I actually it's like very idyllic kind of memory for me personally. So yeah, another thing to appreciate about farm life, which I think is awesome and it's honest.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I didn't like, my grandparents had a farm, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I was
Mhm.
there's people out here that would be like, "You fucking city motherfucker," you know what I mean? Like, I'd just, like, do shit
Uh,
with my grandpa in the summer and fucking, like,
yeah,
cut down trees and, like,
yeah.
like, they had, like,
But
raspberry
wasn't
bushes
it
and stuff like
fun?
that.
Like, didn't you kinda
Yeah,
enjoy it?
I'm so glad I grew up like that. Instead of just, like,
Me
being
too.
inside all fucking you know what I mean? And just, like, having,
Yeah.
like, like, video game induced autism. It's like, I can't even imagine how you know what I mean? Like, it's not
Yeah.
hereditary, you just get it from just fucking not socializing with people, that's it. That's where
Mm. That's an
I think you
interesting
can I think
yeah,
it is hereditary also, or, like, fucking environmentally induced, but I do think you can just, like,
sure.
force someone to be autistic because 'cause they're not
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
anything. They
Yeah,
don't know how to
yeah,
interact with people, like, "I get so fucking anxious," and they're like, "Why?" Because you just haven't, like, been outside in the world, like, just leaving,
yeah. Yeah.
makes you
No, I think there's some truth to that. Well, I mean, I was, like, reading all these books about, like, trauma and stuff, and, like, they were basically saying that sometimes like symptoms that seem like autism are actually not
yeah.
autism, but it's actually like trauma related or whatever. So I think yeah, they're environmentally it can be reflective of similar symptoms, I think for sure. Um okay, well, I do this thing on my podcast with all of my guests and we didn't go too deep into your life, but you know what, dude? Like you're a busy dude and you're a working comic now and I want to
Mm,
respect your time. So let's dive into this. So the show that I'm talking about on this episode is called Queenmaker and it's on Netflix. And it's
okay,
actually a very, very good K drama. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you questions based on this show. Like, if you were this character in this situation, what would you do? And you just riff. That's all you
okay,
do. Super fun. Yeah. All
okay,
right. So let's get into it. Let's say you're a woman named Tohi and you're a PR strategy planner for a major corporate conglomerate called Unsung Group. The younger daughter of Unsung Group is named Chaeryung, and Chaeryung is the director of a huge department store, okay? And she manages all these staff members, but there were these videos that people took of her in staff meetings where she would like scream, throw tantrums, hit people. It's like outrageous, okay? Super abusive. And these videos got leaked, all right? And you are responsible for maintaining her public image. What do you do?
I get someone in the board meeting and I bury them, right? So what you did, like, you blame it on someone else?
Yeah, okay. That's it. That's it.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
we're good. No,
isn't
that's a
that the
pretty good one. That's a
doctrine
classic
of
move.
Trump? Like, they were
Yeah. No, I mean, that's usually the move that they take. So, okay, very good. All right. Let's say you're the same woman. You're Tohi again. You're that same PR strategy lady, okay? Your
Puhi?
client,
Puhi.
Tohi, Tohi, yeah, Dohee. So, you're
Oh,
that
okay,
same client, Chaeryung, the abusive lady. She's married to a man named Min, okay? And Min used to be a news anchor, all right? But now he wants to run for mayor. He wants to be the mayor of Seoul. That's what he wants to be. Jimin files a complaint against one of your staff members named Ise, saying that she's threatening to call Me Too on him for rejecting her after having a one night stand with him. Okay. But Issa has a different story. She says that Jaemin called her to his hotel room for a food delivery and then he raped her. All right. But you show Issa fabricated text messages that make it seem like she was hitting on Jaemin and then she eventually like was trying to blackmail him, okay? And you and Issa both know that these text messages are fake. You both know it. But nonetheless, you fire her, all right? You dismiss her and that's done with. But one day, that woman that you fired, Issa, she throws herself off a building and commits suicide. What do you do?
All right. We get a doctor to say that he had diagnosed her for antipsychotics, right? Like she's predisposed to schizophrenia, and we plant marijuana
Okay.
on her. She wasn't taking her pills, but she was smoking a lot of weed, and it brought the schizophrenia to the top of her head, and
Uh-huh.
she had an episode,
Uh-huh.
and she jumped out the window. Right? That's what I would do.
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
Is that
Wow.
right? Like, Framers,
Yeah.
someone
No,
she just
you're
went off her
actually
pills and she took a hit of weed and went crazy.
yeah,
That's what
you would
happens to
actually
people.
be a
Someone told me that happened to someone.
you would actually be a really great PR strategy planner person. Yeah. I mean, you should reconsider
Really? Is that
your
a good
job
answer?
career. Okay. It was a really
Like,
good
what do
answer.
people
Okay.
usually say for
Let's say
these things?
yeah. No, but I mean, like it's like, what would you do if you were this person? So it's fine. It's totally fine. Okay, let's say you're the same woman again. You're Tohi again, okay? You
Okay.
confront Jaemin and you ask him, "Did you rape Ise?" And he says, "Yes, I did." But he shows zero remorse for what he's done. And he also says that he would like to ask you to be his campaign manager when he's running for mayor. And when you say no, he fires you. What do you do?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I go to whoever his opposition is, right? Tell him that story. I've been recording it the whole time.
Oh.
He just, I don't know why that didn't happen. But can I just throw in? No, actually, this happened. Dude, yeah, and I have all this shit on him, right? I run against
Yeah.
him. We just
Yeah.
we just switch teams. That's all we do. We go Stormy
Oh.
Daniels. All right,
Yeah.
Trump. Okay, this is all right. We're showing the tapes. All right, buddy. This is,
Yeah. Mm.
I'm
Okay.
just
Yeah.
in. I'm just throwing out answers
Okay.
from Trump's life and how people have fought him.
Okay. Very good. All right. So let's say you're Tohi again. All right. Same woman. The
Yeah, I love being
chairwoman of
Too he.
the chairwoman of Unsung Group is somebody that you've been serving hand and foot for many years, okay? And for your dedication, the chairwoman rewarded you with a new Maserati. She offered you a VIP hospital room for your sick dad, all right? And she was like very generous with you, okay? But after you get fired from Unsung Group, she takes away your car and she kicks your dad out of the hospital and your dad wanders off into a street somewhere, gets into an accident, and he dies. What do you do?
I'm gonna blame the hot. Oh, okay, wait. So I got fired. Okay, so this is all. I'm trying to get back at Insung Group somehow, right? Oh, dude.
You you got fired, and then they took away all the spoils, and your dad died as a result. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is it? Do I have an NDA with Insung Group? Can I just leak everything? As retribution, I just fucking can I just
Yeah.
make a dossier, just give it to who's Insung Group's opposition? Who hates Insung Group, right? Who's
Actually, that never comes
who
up.
can I give it
They're
to?
like they Oh, okay. So you would make plans to enact revenge, essentially. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Totally get back at them.
yeah. That's
Okay.
I
All right.
like if there's someone. Is there like I don't know if it's the RNC? Is there a DNC I can go to and be like, hey, I got this info about? about
Mm,
instant group, right? And
yeah.
here, do whatever you
Yeah.
want with this. And
Right.
then all of a sudden
Okay.
it's on Korean Fox News and it's all
Yeah.
over, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, yeah. No, this all seems logical. Yeah, very good. Okay. Let's say you're a different woman now. All right, we're changing your character. Let's say you're a woman named Kyung-suk, okay? You are a human rights attorney fighting for the rights of marginalized people everywhere. All right. So there were these part time workers who were unjustly fired from the department store owned by Unsung Group. And one day, the PR head of Unsung Group, Do-hee, who you despise, all right, because of all of her, corrupt ways, she comes to you and she says that she would like you to run for mayor of Seoul and she wants to be your campaign manager. But you are very well aware of all the corrupt things that Do-hee has done for the Unsung family. But she says she wants to make things right in her life by making a human rights lawyer like you the mayor of Seoul. What do you do?
What can I do? Can I be like, hey, like treat the workers better, right? And then I'll work for you if you do this. And you put little upgrades for the factories, and that
Mm.
right? You change it from the inside,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
We're not gonna change hearts
Yeah.
and minds by saying "fuck you, Doohee." It's just like we. I don't know. You
Okay.
wouldn't get anywhere, I guess.
Yeah. All right. All right. Very good. Okay. Let's say you're the same human rights attorney lady, Kyung Suk, okay? You've decided to run
Mhm.
for mayor with Do-hee's help, all right? You need a lot of funds for your mayoral campaign, but she keeps setting you up in meetings with these corporate lobbyists, all right? And that's totally against your ethics. But your campaign is very expensive and very small compared to your competitors. What do you do?
You know what? I'm gonna remain small. Like I can't even say that seriously. Like I don't. You just got to become what you hate. All right. And all of a sudden, you're lobbying for the rights of workers, so that they can become rich and evil too. Those are you
Oh,
want.
okay.
You want the
Yeah. Yeah. Let everybody win. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's say you're the same attorney. All right, you're Kyung-suk again. You've decided that your whole
okay.
I mean, no, I'm sorry. You dedicated your whole life to human rights, all right? And that requires a lot of time away from your family, right? Your husband, he's very supportive, but he's the one that's like taking care of everything. Your son, who's a teenager, he resents you because you're never around. One day, your son beats up another kid in school, and this gets leaked in the press and makes you look like a shitty parent, makes your son look like a shitty kid. All right. Everybody hates you and your family now. The parents of the kid who got beaten up by your son, they want to press charges. The school wants to expel your kid. All right. There's a lot of drama. But later, you find out that the reason why your son beat up that other boy is because that kid posted photos of your face superimposed onto a half naked woman and like put that all over the internet. What do you do?
Uh, I do what the Biden family does. I just say my kid's a drug addict and he's in recovery and and he's painting now. He's doing much better. He's he's put down the crack pipe. He's doing
Okay.
watercolors now. Also, why does he?
Okay. What?
And my kid, I mean, he clearly has rage issues. Like he has, if he's getting mad, it's like.
Yeah.
Also, how did you know I
Yeah.
don't have big honking tits? All right, this is
Yeah.
that's a pretty good
Okay.
Photoshop if he's getting mad over it.
Yeah. All right, very good. Let's say now you're a different woman. You're a much younger woman, you're a
Okay,
sexier, hotter lady. Your name is Chian, and you used to be Tohi's
Jian.
protege. You were her protege, you were Tohi's apprentice. But when Tohi got fired, you replaced Tohi as the head of Eunseung's PR department. Okay. But you're currently having an affair with Jaemin, the guy who's running for mayor. And Jaemin is not only a husband, but he's also a father to two young daughters of his own. You are now pregnant with Jaemin's kid. What do you do?
Oh, do blackmail him, make him raise the kid, buy me a house. Uh,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to be in the kid's life as long as my life is made,
Mm.
right? He can pay for it. Give me a
Mhm.
house.
Yeah.
Uh, get me, a Bentley. Just put me up.
Mm.
I don't have. You don't have to interact with it. I won't say anything. I'll sign an NDA as long as the bills are paid for.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. You have a really excellent mind for being a corrupt woman, actually, Connor. That's what I'm getting.
That's all I am is a corrupt woman. Like,
Okay, okay, very good. All right. We're almost done. Let's say you're Kyung-suk again. You're that attorney lady, all right? During your mayoral campaign, a woman named Hwasu gives a press conference falsely accusing you of embezzling funds from grassroots donations. Hwasu used to be one of your clients, and she was a very dear friend, but now she's standing on your opponent's side. What do you do?
I mean, she's my friend. It's I don't. I keep saying this. Leak all her info. Just put it out in the public. Any dirty laundry I have, any boyfriend she had in middle school, whatever she did. There's pictures of her smoking dope. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say she's smoking crack. If she's just smoking, just make her look bad. You can just put this shit out there. Someone will believe it. Some side will
Yeah.
join up with it, and they'll hate her. It doesn't matter if it's
Okay.
right or wrong. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's there.
Mm.
Some people think that
Mhm.
forever. You
I
just say it
see.
one day, and no one's checking back the next day if it's right or wrong. All right. Look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Everyone thinks he killed black people. It's no one
Okay.
knows. People still think that. We're gonna do the same thing to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Wow, you're a
I
very
used to work for
vindictive
CNN,
woman.
so I know how these things work. Yeah.
Wait, did you really? No, you're kidding, right?
No, no. Yeah, I'm joking. I did.
All right, all right. Last no, but actually I could actually see you working for CNN. Like all the things that, you would say, they are kind of like in line with the way that the story was going. And I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting. He's actually kind of on point." Okay, last question. Let's say you're Jimin. You're that sole mayoral corrupt dude impregnating bitches
Yeah.
everywhere. It gets revealed in the press that Issa, the young woman who committed suicide, it
Hmm.
gets revealed that you pushed her off the building. And there's a file recording of you having done that. It's also revealed that you sexually assaulted her. All right. All of these things get revealed. It's in a voice recording. All right. And now everybody knows. Everybody knows that it's you who's done this, and it's all over the media, all over the media. In addition to that, you find out that your own father, who was at one point a politician, he was coerced into suicide by the man who is currently managing your current mayoral campaign. What do you do?
There's, I don't there's nowhere to win. Right? I do I have any info I can snitch? Can I snitch? Who can I snitch on? Who's done? There's nothing because I'm the top, right? I have nowhere to turn. I'm dead.
Yeah, it's over, bro.
Like, yeah,
Mm.
I'm gonna pick up the pills that I planted on that bitch and I'm gonna swallow them myself. All right, that's what or
Oh,
whatever psychotic she wasn't taking. That's it. Yeah, so I'm dead. That's it.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm ODing.
Suicide.
I'm ODing in the bathroom. Yeah, I'm gonna put some music they would never think
Wow.
of. I'm putting on Pantera. Alright, I'm listening. I'm rocking all night and into the abyss. Everything goes dark.
What would be your
It ends.
what would be your last meal?
My last meal. Oh, hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a Korean man.
Like what would be Yeah,
Fried
yeah,
chicken.
you're a Korean dude.
I don't know.
It's What's funny is that, to say that Koreans love fried chicken doesn't sound racist, but it does sound racist to say that black people love fried chicken. Isn't that funny? It's very interesting,
Yeah,
isn't it?
even though I even though, like, I don't it is such a weird thing because I was thinking, like, every I don't know, it's a universal thing. You could say that about every race now. The Koreans are
Yeah,
onto it. 'Cause it is like
yeah,
every, like, country song is a white dude singing about how much he loves fried chicken, right? You say the same thing, but you know what I mean? There's, like it's also, like, every other, like, genre everyone likes it. It's universal now. Japan,
yeah,
there's KFCs all over the fucking place. Maybe, like, Europeans don't
yeah,
like it, but they're
yeah,
probably like,
it's
"It's
so
so
good.
greasy, it's dirty," you know? Like, they're above that, but yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas this is the
yeah, man.
post-racial society we live in.
Yes, where there is
Yeah, so I
universal
eat
love
fried
for
chicken
fried
and then eat
chicken.
some pills. Um,
Yeah, going out Korean style, very good.